Hi, it's Pastor Robin in Richmond, Virginia, in my home study. I'm here to give you a little taste of what we talked about on Sunday, September 12th at MCC Richmond when I shared the message, Living the Good Life. I can dream, can't I? You see, I talked about the good life, living the good life. It's something I'm going to do for the next 4 weeks as well. Part of our fall annual giving campaign, and also just our emphasis on how we might not only survive the economic dislocations that are going on all around us and in our own homes, but also actually thrive and connect more fully with God. Living the good life. What is the good life? Well, I think it is actually living the dream or dreams that God placed in us when we were born. Some of you who are parents know about this situation that you've observed in your own children, as I have in mine, that they're each one different. They were born of the same parents, they lived in the same household, and yet from very early on they have very different characteristics, very different personalities. I believe that's a gift that we receive, each one of us, from God. God has something special in mind for each one of us. That is living that dream. But we oftentimes get lost and we substitute lesser dreams for God's dream. Maybe we chase after, having the best house in our family, or having a big car, or maybe we need to go and get a big degree in university or something, or maybe we just decide we're going to live a life that doesn't care about anything, and that becomes a dream somehow, that we don't have a care. So all those things can create problems for us, that we end up having nightmares instead of dreams when we substitute some of those lesser dreams for God's dream. We can get in sometimes into the dream, or the nightmare, if you will, of affluenza, not influenza, but affluence, thinking our worth is determined by how much we own, or credititis, buying more than we can possibly pay and afford. All those kinds of things. The United States, I think, has sometimes forgotten about our dream. The American dream is not about how much we own, or whether we have a bigger bank account than somebody else, or whether our country is bigger than everybody else. Our dream really is, that God gave us, is to live as a free people. And secondly, and connected to that, is living in care for each other, that we are actually a community of free people who respect and honor each other's dignity and individuality, while at the same time making sure no one goes under, that no one dies needlessly, and nobody starves, and so on and so forth. That really is based on a foundation, I believe, of the greatest gift of God, which is even more than that dream, really, although it's very connected, and that is the fact that God gives life. God is the source of life. Without God, there is not life, in my view. And I got the congregation on Sunday to say after me a few times, I am alive. I am alive. Because I think it's important to claim that that is the foundation, that that's a great place to begin. And not only that I'm alive, but therefore also when we say it together, you are alive. We are together. And we will make sure that none of us starve to death, for an example. Unlike places in Africa and Asia where, women oftentimes lose their children because they don't have breast milk, because they don't have clean water, or they don't have anything to eat. And so the mother is deteriorating, may die herself, but also the child. That's a dashing of God's dream. God had a dream in that child. God had a dream in that mother, and indeed in that father. So we all need to help each other. It's not just about our own dream. It's not just individual. The Bible is very clear. You can't build a dream alone. Oh no. We do it in community. Jesus was very clear about that. The whole Hebrew and Christian texts, New Testament, Old Testament, very clear. We do this together. It is very much a dream. And we have a dream as a church. I'm going to be talking about that in the weeks to come. The great, wonderful news, I believe, is that not only do we get the dream, not only are we alive, but also that God never lets go of the dream. You see, we can lose it. We can get off course. I've had some dark alleys and dead ends in my life where I thought everything was going to be kind of boring and gray for the rest of my life because I couldn't figure out what was going on. And God did not forget me, and God did not forget my dream. And so I was reconnected with it. I got desperate and I asked for help. And when I did and I listened to God, God said, no, Robin, you need to go over here. You need to do this now. And I followed that direction. And that's very important, that we know that God will do that for us. God will never forget the dream. God planted it in us and it is very dear to God. And God wants us, both as individuals and I believe as a community, to live out the dream that God has for us. We actually talked some about the parable in the 15th chapter of Luke of the shepherd who loses one of his 100 sheep, and he goes after and leaves the 99. Now, modern risk management theory would say, oh, don't do that, you're going to lose the 99. But that's not how God works. You see, God goes after the one. That's you or me who are needing God. And in the same story, in the same parable in chapter 15, the woman who lost the coin. And, she spends her whole night looking for the coin. Now, we may think that a little strange, although I don't know about you, but I've been in it once or twice in my life where a quarter or a 50-cent piece made a huge difference in my life. But this woman, whatever the size of that coin was, threw a party. She was so excited when she found it. Well, that's what God does. God throws a party. The angels in heaven are joyful when indeed we reconnect with our dream and live our dream. So, God has a dream for us. God has life for us. God won't let us go. Those are the things to remember. I'm going to be talking this week a little bit more about how we might make a plan that might help us live our dream, our individual dream, and also our church's dream. I hope you'll be with us this Sunday in worship. But if you can't be, why, check in here next week. We'll have another message for you. In the meantime, may you know God's blessing in your life this day and every day.